Okay, thanks very much indeed, Chris. Right, well, again, good afternoon, as I said. What a crazy year it has been. I mean, it's been tough, whether you're young or whether you're old, it has been hard. It's been hard on nature too. I think there are probably some areas where wildlife has benefited from fewer people and other places where wildlife has really suffered from a huge number of people. I really would not want to be a curlew next weekend in the New Forest on the first weekend after lockdown. It'll be tough for those birds. Okay, if we could change the next slide, please. Right, so just a quick word that I know there are many people in HOS who've been sitting at home told to stay at home to remain safe, but there are also quite a few people in HOS who are doctors, NHS workers, police, essential workers. They weren't given that option. And just really a thank you on behalf of all the HOS members to those people in HOS who do those jobs. Thank you for all you've done in this time, because you didn't have a choice. You had to go to work, and we do appreciate it. Everything has been cancelled this last year. It's been really tough, hasn't it? We haven't had any outings. We weren't able to have our AGM. It's been really tough on everybody, but thank goodness for Zoom. Zoom has kind of come to the rescue, and once we'd mastered the controls and knew what to do, we started to put together a series of talks, which many of you have attended, indeed over 200 to some of those talks. And a big thank you from me to Nicola Whitmarsh and also Barry Page for mastering that, both the admin and the technology. So thank you for that. That was really great. And we will hope to do a few talks from time to time during the year using Zoom. It's a good way to get hold of people who perhaps wouldn't normally be able to come to see us anyway. So this is for sale on eBay at the moment. It's a sign from an American motorway, 104. Now I put it on because it's £150 actually if you want to buy it. 104 is the number of new members we recruited last year. And I would have thought perhaps we might have recruited none because we didn't have a single meeting and we weren't able to meet anybody at all. But we got 104, which is really fantastic, and thank you very much. But already this year, 78 new members just in the first few weeks of 2021. It's actually almost one each day. So that's a really promising start. And we've been partly doing that by going out to other groups and giving them talks about birds and then encouraging to join HOS. So that's been really, really good too. As I mentioned, we have young members. About 3 years ago, I actually announced that we would give free membership to anybody who was in full-time education, whether they were 6 years old or 24-year-olds doing their masters. At the time, we had just a few young members, either family members with their parents. And we had one in particular, Tommy Saunders, who I know is hoping to be on the line today. And Tommy very kindly, who was 15 years old, said he'd take on the job of finding young members for us. And he did a great job. We got about 15 in the first year. We're now up to 50, which includes some family members. So that's wonderful. And we're doing as much as we can to keep them interested because they are the future of this society. But we wouldn't have been able to do this without the Cameron Bespolka Trust. It's a fantastic charity that connects birding and wildlife with young people. And they have helped to make that possible by funding that membership offer. So thank you very much to them. Go and have a look at their website. It's a wonderful charity. So we've been also looking at other things. You will have noticed that all around us in Hampshire, everywhere, there seem to be new houses going up, new factories, things that frankly almost seem unnecessary, but it's just the way the country is at the moment. So we now have brought in a new HOS planning application screening process. And the way that works is that we look for all the planning applications that come up working with Hampshire County Council. If I could have the next slide, please, Barry. You'll be seeing, I'm afraid, fences like this going up on places that used to have hedgerows, where there are now fences and people building more housing estates. What we're aiming to do is to find the applications that are most damaging to wildlife and speak out on those matters. We can't obviously represent every single green field, but if there's a bit of good wildlife habitat that's being lost, we want to know. So please do let us know, just in case we haven't found out about it. But a good example of one where we will want to take a lot of action is this. In Portsmouth Harbour, Tipner Peninsula, which is being planned as a new industrial site. All of that green land just off there, is planned to be turned into industrial units and port facilities. Do we need that? It's an important wildlife habitat, and we're working with the RSPB and Hampshire Wildlife Trust to make sure that plenty of objections are put in at the right time. But it can work. Here at Fleet Pond, HOS members made us aware of some damaging plans this year where a whole load of habitat was going to be cleared right in the middle of the breeding season. We were able to make an objection, and as a result, that work has been delayed. So thank you to them, because that enabled us to make a difference, which is really, really pleasing. We need data to be able to make these decisions. There's no good going to a planning application and not knowing how many birds are actually on the site. So we're carrying on with surveys this year. A sand martin nesting colony survey is going to be starting very soon. We've already got a lot of volunteers for that, but you know, sand martins are very transient. They turn up and start nesting in places where they weren't last year. So if you see sand martins nesting, do let us know, because we'd like to be able to find out where they are. Another species we're surveying this year is snipe, breeding in the New Forest. Over 100 pairs of snipe nest in the New Forest, and we're trying to survey them for Forestry England to find out exactly where they are. So we'll be looking for some people who are willing to do some walks. I'm afraid it's early morning or towards the end of the day, because that's when snipe are at their most active, but great exercise for you. So do volunteer if you'd like to take part in that. And also another very declining species, the fastest declining bird in Britain, the turtle dove. The RSPB is organising a national survey of these. We're taking on helping them within Hampshire. So again, it's early mornings, I'm afraid, because that's when the turtle doves call most. But if you'd like to go out to look at some of the sites where we know they have been in the past, then get in touch and we'll make sure that you are given somewhere to go for a walk. So if you want to get involved in any of that, get in touch with me or anybody else on the HOS team. So I wonder, what was your best bird of 2020? I think mine, and probably yours, has to be this, the most wonderful Wilson's phalarope that spent 6 days catching insects just 6 foot away from the rest of us. We'd never seen a Wilson's phalarope before, and clearly it had never seen humans before, because it just ignored us. Wonderful opportunity. But we're bringing out a book on the rare birds in Hampshire. It's been written by John Clark. It's almost completely written up now. We're just going to get together, and that'll be available later this year. It'll look through the history of rare birds over the last 70 years in particular. And just finally, a big thank you really to everyone in HOS who makes the HOS machinery move so smoothly without too much oil. Even though none of us have met face to face this year, everything just seemed to carry on seamlessly, which is really wonderful. Kingfisher came out 3 times, a really high quality magazine, full of colour, full of interest. And the Hampshire Bird Report, as always, was a stonking great issue, with records from about 1,500 observers. In fact, nearly 300,000 records in total. So many thanks to the teams who produced those. Many thanks to the data team who do all the inputting and make sure we have the records to get it all together. And from me, really, my personal thanks to everybody in HOS who's made it all work this year. It's been a tough year for us all, and you did a brilliant job. Chris, back to you.